Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Some of you have had some questions in the last few days or so about when I talk about going on calls and stuff. And I realized that in the last couple of weeks, I've had quite a few new subscribers, well over 1,000 just in the last couple of weeks. So I know that there's a lot of people that don't understand because, the rest of you, some of you were getting tired of me talking about this fire department emergency response team. Not all of you. A lot of you think it's amazing. But I hadn't talked about it really much in a while. So I wanted to kind of get a brief overview of that and just talk about some things. So just stick with me on this. So over the last year or so, we have I do more than just the YouTube videos. We have an actual real world community. We just had a big monthly meeting yesterday, and then we do smaller group meetings throughout the month in different places. But we've had a real world physical group of people for several years now in our area. And about a year ago, we realized that in preparations for collapse and for things getting bad, that as a community, we should have a plan, a contingency plan in place so that we as individuals can go and help each other. That's part of what a MAG means, Mutual Assistance Group. Most people just focus on the defense. They just focus on going there with guns and defending each other when bad things happen. And of course, we do that also. But we were talking that, hey, we need to do more than just that because there's more things that people are going to need help with. Emergencies, medical stuff, fires, tornadoes could happen. All those things happen now in this world and will most likely continue to happen and maybe even be worse when things fall apart, especially when, the regular services that we're all used to having may not be available. Or at least, at the very least, may not be available as readily available. So as a community, we started putting together and training to just be able to do search and rescues and doing medical training and other types of training in and around that, along with defense, security, those kind of things. And then we realized that, what we're doing and the level of training that we have and the level of the quality of people involved in our little team was pretty good. So we wanted to offer that to the greater public. And of course, we live way out in the rural parts of this, area. And we went and spoke with the local fire department, which is all volunteer. They get no tax revenue. No one gets paid, anything like that. And we went to them and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you be willing for us to work with you? And they just thought it was great. And so we became an auxiliary of the fire department, and then several of us officially joined the fire department as volunteers. I have become a captain on the fire department, and the fire department has their main station, and then they had a couple of auxiliary, substations, and this is one of them that I'm standing in, and it wasn't being used because it was becoming in disrepair. And so we've taken over that building, and you can see that there's still some disrepair stuff going on, but we're remodeling it little by little as we're able to raise funds, get it fixed up, and we respond to calls. We respond to just about any type of call that a fire department would go on. Medical calls, we have guys that are very highly qualified in medical response. We do fire training, structure fire and wildland fire training. We respond to motor vehicle accidents. Like I said, just about any type of call. We help land helicopters for, medical evacs, disasters, tornadoes, floods, storms. We help man the local tornado shelter when that type of stuff happens, all sorts of stuff. And then we also offer medical training to our community, just to anyone. So that's kind of how things have happened. And so when you hear me talk about going on a call and stuff, that's what I'm talking about. And then last night we had a massively huge fire call, wildland fire call that we went on that I was on scene for about 8.5 hours or so. Very, very large fire, very out of control fire, but we got it under control. And then today it's just been raining. I mean, you can see I had a vehicle in here earlier and, all the water. It's been raining nonstop, so of course thankfully it's no longer an issue because of the rain. In case anyone asks, I've said this before, I know that there's a name on this truck, but that's not our department. This is an old out of service truck that needs some work done on it, and it was donated by a department way up in Minnesota. So that's, if you see that, I've had people, oh, is that your, no, it's not. But it's a mess in here because we've been doing some work. You can see materials along the back wall there. Over here on this side is where we've been doing some remodeling. That we ripped all this side out that was here before, and we're putting in an office and bathroom and kitchen and stuff back in here. This wall here, you know, some of this stuff was donated, and some of it we've purchased. And so we've been doing all that. So I wanted to bring everyone up to speed because I know there's a lot of new people that's been watching the channel. And so I wanted to let you know what we're doing. Now, why are we doing this? Why is this a big deal? And while you may not have the desire or be able to do a similar thing to this, there are things that you can do. We realized that while yes, most people, and I advocate this too. I'm just like all the other YouTube channels in this sense. You know, we have to focus on our personal preparedness, grow food, be able to be self-sustaining, all that kind of stuff. We need to, you know, have your beans, your rice, your bullets, your medical gear, water, all those kind of things, right? And then I talk about working with others around you, establishing your groups, tribe, crew, mag, whatever you want to call it. And then training and learning together too. And the defense is a big one, especially when you look at what's coming across the border and all the other things that's going on in the world. That's a big one. But you know what? That's not the only thing. And if that's the only thing that you're focusing on as an individual or as a group, you're missing out on so much. You're only consuming one little part of the meal. And because while it's getting more and more likely that kind of defense type stuff is going to be necessary, it's certainly not guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is that there's going to be medical problems. People are going to get sick. People are going to get injured. There's going to be rains that can flood. There's going to be dry weather that there could be fires. There's going to be structure fires. There's going to be tornadoes. There's going to be all sorts of things like that do happen and are guaranteed to continue to happen. And as the world starts to fall apart more and more, are we going to have access to the typical services that we're all used to of calling 911? And there it well, what happens when there's some type of solar activity like there has been in the last couple of days, but it's big enough to knock out communications, and now 911 no longer exists? Maybe having a team put together that has alternative communications that can do the same thing and respond. And then working with the local, authorities, working with local people, especially in your rural areas, getting established, and building a strong community. Because the stronger these small communities are, the less that they're going to need, FEMA and the feds and the UN and all that kind of stuff if things really fall apart. Because they're the ones that come in, they're going to save the day, but there's a lot of baggage that goes along with it, and we don't want that. And most of these small little rural communities across the America don't want that either. They don't want that kind of help. They don't want that kind of baggage. But if they only have so many resources and so many people to help, then what are they supposed to do? And so when we step in as people that have capabilities and that have great desire to see our communities thrive and to see us hold on to what we once were as America. When those kind of people get involved and volunteer their time and put their efforts in, it's amazing what could happen. And America used to be, especially rural parts of America, it used to be all volunteer type of stuff. No one got paid. Everyone was a volunteer to some extent. And it was very common for people to volunteer time in churches, and churches would do a lot of things, volunteer fire departments, volunteer organizations. Now, so few people do that anymore. And I think that's part, not the only reason, but that's a big part of why communities, especially rural communities, are kind of falling apart, because no one steps up and does anything. And we decided as a group that we need to, that we can't just kind of be in a little hidey hole, you know, go hide in the bunker and then we'll just survive and let everything around us die off. That's not a real good plan, because then that leaves you as a smaller group that has a lot more work to do to prepare, to survive, to protect and defend against people, right? Whereas if you have a larger group of people, a whole community that sticks together, then it's less likely for people to come in and try to do things, because they see, wow, a strong, thriving community. And so that's what we're trying to do. So this, what we do here, you've probably seen, if you haven't seen this yet, this is medical gear that our team and the department has. I'm not going to go through it all. I've made videos going into detail of what we have here, giving you some ideas for what to do for yourself in your own team. I put those over on Locals, so if you want to know more about what we're doing in detail, that's over on Locals. And there's a description a link in the description below. But this is where we have medical gear. We all have medical bags, you know, like scene bags, which you'd see an EMT carry. We do lots of medical training. Most of our guys are trained at the first responder or EMR, emergency medical responder level. We do have guys that are EMT, paramedic, and even nurses. So, you know, we have some pretty advanced medical capabilities on our team. And then, of course, we have, you know, fire stuff. We have search and rescue that we do. Several of us have gone through search and rescue certifications. You know, there's other things that we are working on, doing training-wise. So it's a big deal. And even though not all of it is that defense-type training and defense-type skill development, a lot of it all transpires and it transposes over to that, you know. So when you go out and you're spending 8 hours fighting a fire and putting your body through a great amount of stress and having to endure it, that's going to transpose over to, you know, defending yourself and escape and evasion and those kind of things. So it's a good idea to get involved. If you live in a rural area, chances are your fire department is all volunteer. And a good way to get some good training in and to get yourself established in the community and learn about what's going on in the community is to go and volunteer. So I would encourage you, especially those that live in a volunteer fire department district, is go talk to them. See about volunteering. Most of them, you don't have to have any type of prior training. Most of them will train you on the job, will put you through different types of training so that you can either do medical or fire or both or whatever. But I would encourage you to go and volunteer, because it's a great way to get the training and to get established in the community and get to learn. And that way it can open doors to talk to people and to people in the department. So that is kind of what we're doing. We do take donations for all this, because that's how we function. You know, we either function by donations or function by just what comes out of our own pockets, and a lot of what's happened does come out of our own pockets. So if you're interested in donating, there are going to be a couple of links down in the comment section, a pinned comment. One is just to make a monetary donation to a fundraiser, and then the other one is a gift registry of items that we use. If you wish to purchase one of those items, it'll be sent here to us for us to use. So if you're interested in that, that would be very helpful in what we're doing. Those monies, they go to fixing this station up and to getting the things that we need so that we can provide adequate services for the people in the area. So anyways, I thought I would bring you up to speed, because I haven't done that in a while. And as far as the building part of it, I didn't go into detail of that, but it is coming along. We're working on getting the electrical all wired up and rewired. There was some things we had to redo because the building's old and some of the electrical was kind of messed up and getting old, so we've had to, you know, redo some of that. But things are moving along really great, and we've been, I haven't kept track in detail, I'd have to check, but I'd say we've gone on at least 30 to 35 calls in the last couple of months. So that's a lot of responding. That's a lot of training, a lot of on-the-job developing skills and training as we go along. So it's a good way to become even more prepared, folks. And if it's not fire department related stuff, look for civic groups and church groups and local organizations that you can volunteer to. Maybe you're not physically able to do this, but are there other places around you that you can volunteer? It's probably a pretty good idea to do that. I think it will help in your preparedness skills. All right, folks, thank you for what you do. And I want to encourage you to keep on the path, folks. Keep focused on preparedness, on getting yourselves more ready, because I don't think we have a whole lot of time left. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.